Welcome to Compound Notes. Here we explore the mechanics of self-improvement, operating on the principle that small, consistent deposits of knowledge yield massive returns over time.
That is a very apt introduction for today's deep dive. Honestly, that opening line feels like it was written specifically for the book we are about to unpack.
It really does, doesn't it? Today we're doing a deep dive into Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, I have to be honest with you, and I imagine you might feel the same way. When I see another self-help book on the bestseller list, my first instinct is usually a bit of skepticism.
Oh, for sure.
It feels like we've heard it all before. Work harder, dream big, visualize success.
Completely understandable. There's so much noise in that whole personal development space. And I think that's exactly why we needed to pull this one apart. Atomic Habits isn't really about motivation in that traditional sense. It's been on the New York Times bestseller list for years, sold over 20 million copies. It's basically become the operating manual for behavior change.
Well,
And the reason it sticks isn't because it tells you to try harder. It actually argues that willpower is a terrible strategy.
which is music to my ears, honestly.
Yeah.
I think we all have that fatigue of trying to white-knuckle our way through a new diet or a new work routine.
Precisely. The core argument here is that if you're struggling to change, the problem isn't you, the problem is your system.
Okay, so it's about engineering your life.
Exactly. Engineering it so that change becomes, well, almost inevitable, rather than this daily battle against yourself.
So before we get into the how the systems and the hacking of habits, we need to talk about where this comes from. Because James Clear didn't just dream this up in some sterile lab. He learned it the hard way.
The really hard way. It's a harrowing origin story, and it really sets the stakes for everything that follows.
Yeah, what happened?
It starts on the last day of his sophomore year of high school. He's playing baseball, just a normal day. A classmate takes a full swing with a bat. It slips, and it strikes James directly in the face.
Ouch. And we're not talking about a bloody nose here. This sounds catastrophic.
It was. We're talking a broken nose, multiple skull fractures, shattered eye sockets. The swelling was so severe they actually had to put him in an induced coma.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
At that age, in high school, sports can be your whole identity. He had these big baseball dreams, and suddenly he could barely function.
Exactly. The physical damage was it was too severe to just bounce back. And this is the crucible moment. He goes back to college eventually, but he knows he can't just flip a switch and be a star athlete again. He's starting from, below zero.
Right.
So he ignores the big, flashy goals. He starts small, tiny, actually.
And this is where the atomic concept starts to form, right? He didn't try to win the championship on day one.
No, not at all. He focused entirely on things he could control, and we're talking about the absolute basics.
Like what?
Going to bed at a consistent time, keeping his room tidy, doing consistent but very light weightlifting.
It sounds almost trivial, like
Yeah.
clean your room isn't exactly groundbreaking advice you expect from a bestseller.
In isolation, yes, it seems insignificant. But fast forward 6 years from that point, he's an academic All-American. He receives the university's highest honor.
So he did just recover.
He surpassed where he was before. He literally rebuilt himself piece by piece, atom by atom.
That leads us to the title. I love the double meaning here. I think most people hear atomic and they think of, a bomb,
Yeah.
explosive power.
Right. But it's both. It also refers to the size.
It does. It refers to something tiny, like an atom, the
Yeah.
smallest unit of a system.
Oh.
But as we know from physics, atoms are the building blocks of the universe. And if you align enough of them, well, they're the source of immense energy.
Let's get into the math of this, because this was the first aha moment for me in the source material. We always hear get better every day. It's a cliche. But Clear actually puts a number on it, the 1% rule.
It is such a beautiful piece of arithmetic, and it explains why we often don't see results right away. The logic is simple. If you get just 1% better every single day for a year.
The compound interest is huge. It's staggering. Mathematically, 1.01 to the power of 365 isn't double. It's approximately 37.78.
So you end up nearly 38 times better by the end of the year. That is wild.
It is. But, and here is the warning label that comes of it, it works in reverse.
No, right.
If you get 1% worse every day, 0.99 to the power of 365, you decline almost to zero.
That's terrifying. It really highlights that there's no neutral ground. You're either compounding up or you're compounding down.
Exactly. Success isn't this big movie montage moment where everything changes overnight. It's the quiet accumulation. It's compound interest, but for your behavior.
This leads us to one of the most provocative ideas in the book, which I think challenges how most of us were raised. We're trained to set goals. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to write a bestseller. But Clear says, maybe forget the goals.
He does, and to explain why, he points to what he calls the Olympian paradox. Think about the Olympic Games. Every single athlete there has the exact same goal.
Win the gold medal.
Right.
No one goes to the Olympics hoping to get fourth place.
So if the winners and the losers both have the same goal, then the goal cannot be the thing that makes the difference.
That's a really good point. We usually suffer from survivorship bias. We look at the winner and say they had a great goal, but we ignore the person who came in last who wanted it just as badly.
Exactly. The goal is just the result you want. The system is the process that gets you there. If you're a coach, your goal is a championship. Your system is how you recruit, how you train, what your practice drills look like.
There's a quote in the notes here that just sums this up perfectly. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
That is the bumper sticker right there. Fix the inputs and the outputs will fix themselves. If you spend all your time staring at the scoreboard, you aren't playing the game.
Okay, so we move from goals to systems. But Clear goes even deeper than that. He talks about layers of change. There's outcome, what you get, process, what you do, and then the core.
Identity, what you believe.
Right, identity.
And this, for me, this is the most critical shift in the entire philosophy. It's the difference between doing something and being someone.
The source material uses a smoking example to illustrate this, and I think it's really powerful.
It's perfect. So imagine two people are offered a cigarette. Person A says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit."
Which sounds like a perfectly reasonable response. I've probably said versions of that myself.
It does sound reasonable, but look at the underlying belief. What are they really saying?
I am a smoker, trying to resist.
I am a smoker who is currently depriving myself. The identity hasn't changed, and that takes a ton of willpower, and willpower, eventually it just runs out.
Okay, and person B.
Person B says, "No thanks, I don't smoke."
It's such a subtle shift in language.
It's subtle, but it's seismic. "I don't smoke" signals a shift in identity. They aren't resisting anything because, well, they're not a smoker anymore. The decision is easy because it aligns with who they are.
So how do we actually change that identity? Because I can stand in front of a mirror and say, I'm a marathon runner. But if I'm on the couch eating chips, I'm just lying to myself. That feels a bit like fake it till you make it, which doesn't always work.
You are absolutely right. You can't just fake it. You need proof. And Clear suggests viewing your actions as votes.
Votes.
Every time you go to the gym, you cast a vote for the identity of athlete. Every time you write a page, you cast a vote for writer.
I love the voting analogy because of what it implies about perfection. In a real election, you don't need 100% of the vote to win.
Exactly. You just need the majority. This is huge for anyone who beats themselves up over a mistake. You can slip up. You can have a cheat day. As long as the majority of your votes are for that new identity, you win the election.
So the focus shifts from, I need to run a marathon, to, I need to be the type of person who doesn't miss a run.
Yes. When you change the identity, the habits flow naturally because you're simply acting like the person you believe yourself to be. It creates this feedback loop. Your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits.
Okay, so we have the philosophy down. Small changes, focus on systems, build a new identity through votes. Now let's get into the tactical side, the practical toolkit. How do we actually build these atomic habits?
Clear breaks this down into 4 simple laws, which he maps onto the neurological feedback loop of habit formation: cue, craving, response, and reward.
Let's walk through these. Law number 1, make it obvious. This corresponds to the cue.
Right. And this is primarily about environment design. We often think we lack motivation, but a lot of the time what we really lack is clarity. If you're relying on your brain to remember to do a good habit, you're probably going to fail.
You need your environment to scream it at you.
Yes. So give me a concrete example.
Okay, if you want to drink more water, don't hide the bottle in the fridge.
Right. Fill 5 bottles and put them on your desk, on the counter, in the living room. Make the cue impossible to miss. Conversely, if you want to stop checking your phone, don't just try harder. Put it in another room. Make the cue invisible.
It's like laziness engineering. You're making the right choice, the path of least resistance. What about habit stacking? I see that term here, and it seems like a big part of the cue.
This is one of my favorite tools. You use an existing habit as the cue for a new one. The formula is basically, after current habit, I will new habit.
So you take something you already do every day on autopilot.
Exactly. After I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. The coffee is the trigger. You don't have to decide when to meditate. The coffee tells you it's time. You're piggybacking on neural pathways that are already built.
Smart. So you aren't relying on memory. You're relying on the routine you already have. Okay, moving on to law number 2. Make it attractive. This addresses the craving.
We are dopamine-driven creatures. We need to want to do the habit. A great strategy here is something called temptation bundling. You pair an action you need to do with an action you want to do.
The classic example is the treadmill on Netflix, right?
Right. You make a strict rule. I am only allowed to watch my favorite show while I am physically on the treadmill. Suddenly, you actually look forward to the workout because you're dying to see what happens in the next episode.
You're hacking your dopamine system to work for you.
Exactly. And another part of making it attractive is the social aspect, who you hang out with.
Oh, this is a big one.
Huge. Humans are mimics. We imitate the people around us. If you want to get fit, the single best thing you can do is join a group where fitness is the normal behavior. When the desired habit is the standard for the group, it becomes so much more attractive to you personally.
Because we all have that deep drive to belong. Okay, law number 3, make it easy. This is about the response, the actual action itself.
The enemy here is friction. You want to reduce the number of steps between you and the good habit. So if you want to go to the gym in the morning,
Lay out your clothes the night before.
yes, shoes, socks, water bottle, everything. If you have to search for your socks at 6 a.m., you are not going to the gym.
But my favorite tool in this section, and the one I was most skeptical about at first, is the 2-minute rule.
It is so deceptively simple. A new habit should take less than 2 minutes to do.
But wait, I have to play devil's advocate here. If I want to get in shape, doing 2 minutes of exercise isn't going to get me a six-pack. It feels almost pointless.
It feels that way, I get it. But you can't improve a habit that doesn't exist. The goal isn't run 3 miles. The goal is put on my running shoes.
The goal isn't read a book, it's read 1 page.
Exactly. It's about mastering the art of showing up. You have to standardize before you can optimize. If you can establish the habit of just putting on your shoes every single day for a week, you've won the battle of showing up. You're casting that vote for your new identity.
Then you can extend it.
Then you can extend it to 20 minutes, then an hour. But you start with 2 minutes.
Establish the beachhead first, then invade the territory. That makes sense. Okay, finally, law number 4. Make it satisfying. The reward.
Right. The human brain is wired for immediate returns. This is why bad habits are so sticky. Smoking or eating sugar gives you an instant hit, even though the long-term cost is high.
And good habits often have a delayed payoff. You go to the gym today, you don't look any different in the mirror tonight.
So we have to hack that gap. We need to create an immediate reward for a good habit.
Ow.
One of the most effective ways is visual tracking. A habit tracker. Put a calendar on the wall. Every day you do the habit, mark a big red X.
It sounds so childish, but there is something deeply satisfying about not breaking the chain.
It gamifies it. Seeing that row of X's becomes the reward itself. You don't want to see a blank space. But life happens, and that leads to a crucial rule here, the never miss twice rule.
This is so important for the perfectionists listening.
Yeah.
Because usually if I miss one day, I think, well, I ruined the streak. The whole month is ruined. I might as well give up.
That all or nothing mentality just kills consistency, Clear says. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. If you slip up, don't spiral into guilt. Just get back on track immediately.
Right. One bad meal doesn't ruin a diet.
Not unless you let it become a pattern.
So just to recap the toolkit,
Yeah.
make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. But what if we want to do the opposite? To break a bad habit?
You just use inversion. You reverse the laws. Make it invisible. Hide the junk food. Make it unattractive. Remind yourself of the negative consequences. Make it difficult. Take the batteries out of the remote. Increase the friction.
And make it unsatisfying. Create an immediate penalty.
Exactly. It's really a complete operating system for your life. But I want to circle back to something we touched on in the beginning, the timeline. Because even if you do all this, you might not see results in a week or a month.
The danger zone.
This is the danger zone. Clear calls it the plateau of latent potential. And he uses the analogy of an ice cube.
Walk us through that.
Okay, imagine an ice cube in a room that's 20 degrees below zero. You start heating the room. -10, -5, -1.
And looking at the ice cube, nothing is happening. It's still just a block of ice.
Exactly, no visible change. But energy is being stored. The work is happening underneath the surface. Then you hit 0 degrees.
And it melts.
Suddenly it begins to melt. If you had quit at -1 degree, you would have thought, this isn't working, I'm wasting my time. But you weren't. You were just building up the potential.
That's the valley of disappointment where most people give up.
It is. We expect linear progress, but reality is often delayed. The work you did in the beginning wasn't wasted, it was just stored. You have to have faith that the melting point is coming.
That brings us to the core philosophy here, long-termism. We have to learn to fall in love with the boredom.
That's a profound statement. Fall in love with the boredom of consistency. It's not about the adrenaline rush of the big win. It's about doing the rep when you don't feel like it.
Success isn't a finish line to cross. It's a lifestyle to live. It really takes the pressure off, doesn't it? You don't need to turn your life upside down overnight.
You don't need to be a hero. You just need to be 1% better. Just one push-up, just one page, just one vote.
Time will magnify whatever you feed it. If you feed it good habits, time becomes your ally. If you feed it bad habits, time becomes your enemy.
That's it. It all comes back to that voting concept. Every small action is a vote for your future self.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, just take a look at your own day. What are the tiny things you're doing? Because those are the atoms that make up your life.
And here's a thought to leave you with. If your current habits remain exactly as they are right now, no changes, just the same trajectory, where will you be in 5 years? Are you voting for the person you want to become?
That is a question worth sitting with. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time on Compound Notes.